Primo comes back to the league. Okay, this isn't that great of a segue, but I do see someone in the chat says, "What's your hot take?" Okay, so this is what upset, a few people, right? Got a little upset with me, a little angry with me. So basically what I said, and you can read it here. I'm sorry, but if you no longer support the Spurs, if they move to Austin, I don't think you're a Spurs fan. Not going to happen, but still. So I stand by this, okay? I stand by this. All right, so first and foremost, maybe I should have worded it a little better. I don't think you're a true Spurs fan. Does that make it better? It doesn't, does it? It just makes you more angry. Okay, so these are my thoughts on this, okay? Now, I do understand where people are coming from because they're so afraid of the San Antonio Spurs moving. They're like, no, they have to stay in San Antonio. They can't go to Austin. The culture is here. I get it. I understand. You grew up with the team. You're around the team. People are trying to throw at me like, oh, you're from another state, so you don't get it. It's like, okay, I get it. Whatever. I understand. All right. Because here's the thing. I see it this way. All right. So if I put it in my perspective, I also I don't know if you guys knew this, but I also like the Memphis Grizzlies, right? Like I genuinely like the Memphis Grizzlies. Like I'm a fan of the Memphis Grizzlies. They're my second team, basically. But the only reason they're my second team is because they're in Memphis. I feel like if the Grizzlies were anywhere else, I wouldn't be like a fan of theirs, okay? I just wouldn't be a diehard fan of theirs. But I'm a fan of theirs because they're in Memphis. If they were to move to a different state or something like that, then okay, I probably wouldn't care anymore. Okay, so I get it, I understand it, but at the end of the day, I'm not a Grizzlies fan. Like I'm not a diehard Grizzlies fan. Okay, my love for them is very conditional, and I feel like when people start to say if my Spurs were to move, that I would no longer support them and I wouldn't be a fan of theirs anymore. It's okay to be upset, but like when you start saying that, it just feels like it's kind of conditional. Like. And I guess every love for a team or fandom or whatnot can be conditional to some extent, but a geographic location changes whether or not you like the team. Because me with Memphis, I can acknowledge that I'm not a diehard Memphis fan. That's why I can just be like, yeah, if they leave, whatever, But like, for instance, I have a cousin who's a huge Memphis Grizzlies fan who lives in Memphis. And if they were to move, he'll still be a Grizzlies fan. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's different. It's just a different thing. So when I saw some people try to bring up like, no, Clan, that don't make sense. What about Thunder when they went from Seattle to OKC? Are we talking about like multiple states over? First and foremost, there's a lot of Seattle fans, Seattle fans that are still OKC fans. Like there's still a group of them that still loves the Thunder, even though they moved from their state or whatnot. Like, so that's still a thing. But number two, that is not equivalent to the Spurs moving from San Antonio to Austin. That is not the same at all. We're talking like an hour and 40 minutes? You serious? My cat's food just dispensed and it was really loud. I don't know if you can hear that, but like, I don't think that's equivalent at all. That's like completely different. 2-3 hours? I don't even think it's 3 hours. Hold on. San Antonio to Austin, Texas. And it's rush hour right now. Wait a minute. San Antonio, Texas. Good God. That's at 20 minutes. I was like, oh, I'm about to be really angry. It's an hour and 32 minutes. What are we talking about? Why is this such a big deal? I don't get it. I don't understand that. So like, look, I understand being upset if they were to move. It's about 45 minutes. Oh, well, right here it says hour and 15. Well, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's literally in the same state, and it's just a small distance. Okay, you just got to drive a little distance. If I love a team, dude, I've traveled all the way to San Antonio a few times because I love the Spurs. Right? That's a long drive from where I'm at. Okay, I would die if I could go see the Spurs and they were just like a couple hours away. Are you serious? That's why I don't understand. Like, where people getting so upset, like, oh, this is a terrible take. No, it's not. No, it's a very reasonable take. I don't think that if you're only a Spurs fan because they're in San Antonio, I just think that your fandom is super conditional. Like, it's really conditional. And mine isn't. You understand? It just isn't. You can be upset if they moved. I get that, but like, to say I will not support this team and I am no longer a fan of theirs, and look, no one personally betrayed you. If the San Antonio Spurs were to move from San Antonio to another city, they didn't personally betray you, okay? The thing is, it's all about business, but at the end of the day, I want the San Antonio Spurs to be as successful as humanly possible so we can win multiple championships in the future, okay? The NBA is changing. You're gonna have to get some free agents here and there. You're gonna have to sell something to players to come play for you. And unfortunately, right now, as it stands, the Spurs don't have that main selling point that we used to have. When we had Tim Duncan, it was winning, right? When we had Tim Duncan, Manu, Tony. But when we had that winning streak and constantly getting close to the finals and constantly competing, you can at least say, hey, we're winners. You know what I mean? Right now we have, we can help with development. That's great for like rookies and really young players. And I know that we can rejuvenate careers and whatnot, but that it doesn't really, it's not a huge selling point for anybody. And if that were, I'm not saying this would have to be the case, okay? I think San Antonio is fine right now. I think it's fine just to dabble into Austin, dabble into Mexico City, dabble into overseas, whatever they're deciding to do. Like, I think all that's fine, all that's great. That helps a lot. But at the same time, I think that when you get to the point where you want players to come over to San Antonio, or you want players to have a selling point of where they're going to be at, a lot of guys would probably prefer Austin. So if it were to get to that point, I'm fine with it, only because, hey, we're going to have quite a few people wanting to go to San Antonio or wanting to go to the Spurs, right? Like, it helps us. It helps us as fans. I just want to win more. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. I think it's silly. Hold on, let me read this. Everyone got to stop. San Antonio Spurs aren't leaving San Antonio for Austin. It's not happening. If they did go to Austin, I would still be a fan, but I don't see it happening. Thank you, Angel. Angel, what the heck? Angel, how come like every time I post something you disagree, but then when I go live, it's like we're like this? I don't get that. Sebastian says it's just a lot of city bragging rights. Austin people will be cocky over it. San Antonio Spurs fans are cocky over it. I mean, dude, the amount of people that are upset. Look at this. Trash take. Yeah, I don't care about that. Hold on. Easy to say for someone that doesn't live in San Antonio. They're more emotional ties than just a fan in Memphis. I like your content. Thank you for that. But stay in your lane, sir. Stay in my lane. You see how silly this is? This isn't cocky. This is extremely cocky. This is ridiculous. This is so silly. This is so silly. This is so silly. I know that there's emotional ties. I know you grew up in San Antonio, but I'm sorry, dude. If the Spurs were to move a couple hours away, I'm sorry, not a couple hours away. If the Spurs were to move an hour and a half away and you no longer like the team, I think, I don't know. I don't think you're that much of a fan. I'll just be real with you. I just don't. I think you're super conditional. Like my love for Memphis, it's conditional. If Memphis Grizzlies were to leave, I can't sit here and tell you guys I'm a diehard Memphis Grizzlies fan. I'm not. If they were to move, I don't care that much. I'll just be like, oh, that sucks. I can't see the Grizzlies in town anymore. Well, all right. Not a fan of theirs no more. I won't be following them that much. That's what would happen. But that wouldn't be the case with the Spurs. 2 hours in traffic. Yeah, well, 2 hours in traffic, whatever. Who cares? Well, this right here, I think is equating for traffic. I think that's why it's orange, right? I think that's what that means. Pretty bad traffic right now. This will be a time that is pretty bad traffic. Dude, 3 hours. I think that's silly to get upset about. Not really. We got a clip of him admitting he's a Grizzly fan. Me? I am a Grizzly fan. I am. But at the same time, if they were to leave, it's conditional. I'm not a diehard Grizzly fan. Nah, bro, you just drive slow. I can get there under an hour. Dude, if it's a 2 hour trip and you get there under an hour, you probably shouldn't do that. If by any chance that happens, give San Antonio the Austin Spurs. Yeah. I actually thought that too. I thought that was funny. I haven't been able to get there in an hour since the 90s. There's a lot of people in Austin now, right? Growing population in Austin. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not going to happen. Like, I know it's not going to happen, but I don't know. Some of the responses, man, it was like, what the heck are we talking about? Like, I don't care. Like this one, if you're an Austin Spurs fan, would you also be a Las Vegas Spurs fan? Myself, I'm a fan of my community, and the Spurs are a part of that. If they choose not to be, I wouldn't follow them anymore than I followed the Oilers to Tennessee. See, it just seems like it's like a comment, almost like they betrayed me, you know? It's like, well, they're not part of my community. I don't know. You're more in love with the community than anything. I don't know. Also, yes, if they went to Las Vegas, I would still be a Spurs fan. I don't know. I don't understand. Wait, doesn't the Longhorns play the same? I honestly don't know. You're probably right. We doing more draft takes? Check out Wemby's teammate. But I seen some people talk about him. Yeah, but that's my take on it. I don't have much else to say about it. So.